Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakar Kwadash. And double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that taught us His truth with the Holy Spirit, which is indeed is the only and true Spirit. And as well as giving also the salutations thereof to the Akim out there that's forwarding this ministry worldwide out of the sincerity of their hearts, most importantly. And what I want to get over today is some news as to what Jamie Dimon is predicting, which really he's not predicting anything that he already knows. And that's the economic global collapse. And I haven't seen this man in such a long time, you know, on any articles or even on YouTube for that matter. But he just came straight and told the people that was there, you know, as he was probably being interviewed. I gotta go check out to actually see the interview. But you know, in taking that back, I don't probably have to do that because the article is already explaining what he said as he was being interviewed and telling overall, like telling people that this is going to be what the future is going to be concerning the economy is concerned. So this is from the Bloomberg.com, Bloomberg UK news. So it reads, what Jamie Dimon learned from Alan Greenspan. Look past the fracas about Jamie Dimon's shifting prognosis for the U.S. economy, from cautious optimism a week ago to warning of an imminent hurricane. What matters is that a tightened American finance is prepared to say what to a few have over recent decade. What too few have over recent decades. Domestic conditions can look pretty good until they're quickly undercut by adverse events abroad, and this isn't the first time Russia has been a major player. Diamond, chief executive officer of JP Morgan Chase and Co. Bank, warned investors Wednesday to brace for an economic shock that's coming our way. His remarks surprised observers, in part because they painted an outlook much bleaker than the one he described a week earlier. Diamond cited Russia's invasion of Ukraine, inflation and higher interest rates to that string of negatives. Let's add a pronounced deceleration in world growth forecast and a Chinese performance so anemic that it could lag behind the U.S. for the first time in almost 2 generations. And this individual here, there was something else that he predicted years ago and it actually happened. You know, I forgot what it was. So again, like I said, this man here, he's not predicting anything that he doesn't already know. Jamie Dimon is nothing more than an insider. And sometimes insiders are allowed to just flat out tell you the truth. You know, like among these elites, you have men that pose as oppositions to the establishment, and then you have many different agents and men that are used to do a particular task. You know, you got a man over here that may tell you some truths or flat out tell you the truth, and then some lies in the midst. And then you have another group of men, agents, that will just flat out lie to you because they have an agenda to push. All right. But speaking of Jamie Dimon has said something of happening before, and it actually came to pass. So, you know, we're definitely on the verge of something happening on a grand scale concerning the economy, as he put it, an economic shock. So let me read this again. It says, where was that? Let's read some more, because I've read all of that already. So it reads, as markets slump on Dimon's comments, I reflected on the speech by Alan Greenspan almost a quarter century ago, when the U.S. economy appeared to be cruising, the jobless rates was low, inflation was under the control, and a storied tech boom boosted productivity. Many parts of the world were in dire straits. However, the financial crisis in Asia hadn't quite been extinguished, and Russia was teetering. How long could America's expansion withstand broader upsets? Greenspan, then chair of the Federal Reserve, wanted to send up a flare. It is just not credible that the U.S. can remain an oasis of prosperity, unaffected by a world that is experiencing greatly increased stress, he told an audience at the University of California, Berkeley, on September 4th, 1998. Markets took his remarks to indicate the Fed was preparing to reduce interest rates, which the central bank did shortly thereafter. A cut isn't in the offing today. The debate is more about whether the Fed can return to quarter point hikes after flagging half points increases in the benchmark rate this month. And in July, inflation was contained in 1998. Today it is well above the Fed's 2% target, in part because of disruptions caused by Russian aggression. But the idea that a little hyperbole can go a long way remains relevant. So it goes as far as to also read in his 2007 memoir, The Age of Turbulence, Adventure in the New World, Greenspan wrote that he didn't think his Berkeley comments had much impact at the time. In fact, he said he was aiming to shape perceptions over a much longer period. What happened in the rest of the world matters greatly to the U.S. Isolationism runs so deep that people still haven't let it go. He wrote, there are always a presumption that since America is better, we should go with it alone. Okay, so that's it on that. He's kind of somewhat going into something else there. But the point is the fact that he said that there's a pending economic shock worldwide, which is forth to come. And that's what I really want to focus on. Just being real simple. I mean, I could be more specific, but for the sake of time, and we just want to get to the point, And so that's what I'm going to do. So what I want to read is I want to read something else about the labor market, because a lot of people are quitting jobs, and it's obviously to do with, as I've just reading before previously, about inflation. So people are quitting their jobs hoping that they can find a better job so that they can sustain themselves in the world because of this, the expenses that people have to deal with, and life is becoming more costly to live, pretty much. Buying food, having to drive all around, or whether you drive trucks. So a lot of prices are going up on goods that people need to depend on to go to work or to work. So yeah, what I want to do is I want to read this as well as to why people are quitting their jobs. So it reads, it says, people keep quitting their jobs even as recession fears mount. Great resignation hasn't really slowed down with confidence. Let's just read to the article. It says, by Charlie Wells and Claire Bellington, the 6th of June, 2022. U.S. workers can't quitting 2 years into a great resignation, which saw an unprecedented number of workers change jobs during the pandemic. The economy has shifted. Inflation is running hot. Recession fears are growing, and the stock markets is turbulent. Yet workers continue to ditch their jobs in record numbers, many knowing full well that the outlook is the beginning to dim, and people are looking for better jobs. Hence is why they quit their first the job that they already had before. And it's obviously to do with inflation, goods rising up in prices. And the reason why you have that problem is because the currency is deducted in power. So when the currency is deducted in power, just to break it down in simple terms, what happens is that the prices of goods go up. So, right now when you read articles about this issue, they'll talk about, it's really because of the Ukrainian thing that's going on over there, the war, and they're blaming it on that. But really what it is they're printing more money. Just like down here in the UK recently, the poorest people in Britain supposedly, and maybe they did get their check, I'm not really sure if they got their check or not. The thing about it is that the people down here in the UK were gonna get something equivalent to that, which is what Joe Biden did for the American people and giving them stimulus checks, which is basically what it really is anyway. So the Bank of England has probably been printing more money to a degree. And then you also have another dilemma which is going on. You have food plants, certain food plants that are being purposely destroyed and what have you, so that they can manufacture this famine, which is what they're going to set forth to come anyway. So that's the excuse of rising the prices up on goods. It's either that they're printing money, it's either that they're printing the money, or they're sabotaging food plants, the supply chains and all of that, and blaming it on, it's Ukraine, when it's really in all reality a manufactured psychological operation, and that would then be a famine. Okay, like I said, they're gonna set this thing up, man, and they're setting it up right now as I'm speaking. So anyway, let's continue to read some more on this. It says, in the latest data, 4.4 million Americans voluntarily left their jobs in April alone. That's amongst the highest levels in figures going back to 2000, and the trend shows no signs of slowing down. A third of American workers said they were considering quitting in the next 6 to 12 months, according to a recent survey by human resource firm Mercer. All right, because like I said, it's all due to the expenses. That's all due to, as I've said, and as I've already explained, inflation. It's all due to inflation. And this is being done by purpose, as we all in the know understand. So, let me read this again, Salaki. I'm going to read this again. It says, in the latest data, 4.4 million Americans voluntarily left their jobs in April alone. That's amongst the highest levels in figures going back to 2000. And the trends show no signs of slowing down. A third of American workers said they were considering quitting in the next 6 to 12 months, according to a recent survey by human resources firm Mercer. The quitting continues despite the fact that leaders at some of America's largest companies have been warning of very, very high risks of recession. We've been in a recession since 2008. And an economic hurricane. There are also early signs of a shift in the labor market, with the employers ranging from the Winkelhoffs, if I'm saying that correctly, twins, to Elon Musk, talking of hiring freeze and layoffs. So a lot of this is going on, man. People laying off work because they're not taking their job seriously, or in some cases people just don't want to work at all because people have been without working properly through the pandemic. So now they're just kind of like used to just falling back and chilling. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, people are looking for better jobs in the hopes that they can sustain themselves in the world, basically. But it's going to get down to the point, and I just want to read the scriptures now. I want to get to the scriptures because I can read these articles all day, man. Like, these articles are longly read. So, I mean, what I want to do is I want to get to the point, read the points, and do the usual, man, is the scriptures. So this is the book of 1 Timothy 6 and verse 17. And it reads, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. The real riches is what we have. Like it reads in the book of Revelations 2:9, that the Lord knows our poverty, but we are rich. Why? Because of the information that we have access to, and as well as we're rich in faith towards this information of knowing, or this knowledge, which includes us knowing who we are and knowing what our future is going to be, and knowing that we are tied and at one with our Maker. And through this knowledge, we'll be abundantly blessed. So we're rich because of that. All right. And that we are not to be high-minded, to trust in uncertain riches, which the term uncertain, which means untruthful. So the riches that a lot of us had in mind, we expected ourselves in the world to be, a lot of us wanted to be successful in some cases, man. In most cases, most of us wanted to be millionaires, successful business people. Like, we got skills, man. So anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to read 1 Timothy 6 verse 17. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power who giveth us richly in all things to enjoy. And the real riches is indeed this truth. Like it reads in the book of Revelations 2:9, that the Lord knows our poverty, but we are what? Rich because of this truth. Knowing this truth includes us knowing who we are and knowing what our future is going to be. Which overall, we're going to possess the kingdom of heaven and all of the goodly things which comes with it. And also we're rich in faith towards our power. So if we're connected with our power by having faith in him and believing in him, then we have everything, because the power is in all things and everything, which is what he's created. So we're rich also in that as well, I would like to say. All right. But I want to read this again. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches. Because you have a lot of our people that have sold out, especially these entertainers, whether they're coming from the